Okay, let's talk about that moment. You know the one, maybe once a week you're tired and there's this quiet, you've just pulled the laundry out, it's still warm, maybe smells like the dryer or just clean air, and for a minute, maybe the phone's down. You lay a shirt out, smooth a wrinkle, and it feels oddly important.
Yes. It's fascinating, isn't it? We often look for profundity way out there on a mountaintop somewhere, but stillness, real zen, it often begins right here, in the ordinary. The quiet hum of the house, the laundry basket where life just is without any big announcement. The sacred is right there, just disguised as something mundane.
Right, so if the mission isn't just, ticking off a chore, and it's definitely not about getting everything perfectly neat forever, because that's impossible, then what is the purpose? Why this quiet focus on, folding clothes?
Well, we have to start with a kind of paradox, really. We're taught, aren't we, that if we control everything on the outside, get everything lined up perfectly, then we'll feel ordered inside. But true inner order, it's not really a result of control like that. It arises more spontaneously. It's a fruit of presence. Simple, deep presence. A gift, you could say, not a reward you wrestle for.
Presence, okay.
Yeah.
Let's focus on that, the actual mechanics of it. So my hands are moving, folding a t-shirt, right? But my mind is, it's off planning dinner or replaying a conversation.
Yeah.
How do I shift from that into what you called stillness in motion?
Stillness in motion. It means the doing becomes your whole world for that moment. You're not mentally somewhere else planning, worrying, rehearsing arguments in your head. No, your attention is right here. Feel the fabric. Is it cotton? Is it heavy? Light? Notice the weight of a sleeve. The slight resistance when you smooth out a crease. That quiet rhythm of the fold. That becomes your anchor.
So it's like action without the actor driving it so hard, doing without the usual noisy inner monologue. But let's be honest, the mind races. It's hard to settle. Usually we think we need discipline, like forcing the thoughts away. Are we actively making ourselves observe the fabric, or does it just happen?
You don't clear the thoughts by force. That's like trying to smooth water with an iron. You let them pass, like clouds. They come, they go. The mind settles, you see, because it finds it has nowhere else it needs to be. It doesn't need to chatter when the hands and the fabric are fully connected. The noise just subsides. Not through discipline, but through simply belonging to the task. Try matching your breath to your hands. Inhale as you smooth, maybe. Exhale as you fold. You might find that the you who resists the chore, it starts to dissolve a little.
Okay, here's where maybe a little skepticism comes in for me, because this really flies in the face of how we think about getting things done. So many of us believe, or we're told, that if we perfect the outside the spotless kitchen, the perfectly organized bookshelf, I once alphabetized my spices for 3 hours, we think inner peace will just show up as a result. You seem to be saying the opposite is true.
That is the core paradox we bump up against. External organization versus internal order. The more desperately you try to impose that kind of rigid control on the outside, making everything perfect, predictable, often the more brittle or even chaotic the inner world becomes, that perfectly arranged shelf. Sometimes we treat it like a fortress, hoping it protects us from life's messiness. But maybe all it does is hide the underlying anxiety.
So are you saying that striving for that perfect external order might actually be running away from inner uncertainty, not mastering it?
It can be, yes. Think about a Zen garden. Yes, it's raked meticulously. But its real purpose isn't just to look perfect for others. It's meant to be a mirror for your own mind.
Yeah.
If you look at the raked sand and your thoughts are all over the place, the garden itself might feel restless, agitated. But if your mind, your heart, is still, then the garden just breathes quiet order back at you.
I can see that. That's a powerful image. Folding laundry is my own little Zen garden right here.
Exactly. Each piece of clothing is like a stone. Each fold, a stroke of the rake. You're not just organizing clothes, you're arranging your attention. And attention, when it's given completely, without holding back, without distraction, that's maybe the purest form of love you can offer to this present moment.
Okay, but let's talk practicality, impermanence. These clothes, they'll be wrinkled again tomorrow, dirty by next week for sure. So why invest this level of care? Isn't the skeptic right to ask, why bother focusing so much if the result is so temporary?
But this leads us to that wonderful koan, the story of the sweeping monk. Someone saw him sweeping leaves so carefully and asked why, since more would fall tomorrow. And he replied, "I am not sweeping the leaves, I am sweeping my mind." The action isn't really for tomorrow. It's about meeting today's stillness. The point isn't the lasting cleanliness. It's the presence cultivated during the act.
Okay, so it stops being about productivity
Yes.
and becomes pure presence. And in that space, time feels different, doesn't it?
It does. Urgency just falls away. The past isn't pulling at you. The future isn't looming. The whole universe, for that instant, might shrink down to the size of your hands, to the warmth of that fabric, and yet somehow it also expands infinitely within that small space. You step outside the clock.
But this raises a challenge, doesn't it? If true order is the absence of resistance to what is, couldn't that just become an excuse? Like for letting my garage become a total disaster zone? If I just accept the overwhelming mess, is that Zen? Or have I just found a fancy way to put off cleaning it?
That's a very important distinction. Acceptance versus resignation. They aren't the same. True order isn't about having no mess. It's about the absence of inner turmoil about the mess. Remember the story of the Zen master visiting his student? The student had cleaned obsessively, everything spotless, wanted to impress the master with his inner peace via external perfection. And the master, what does he do? He takes a broom and deliberately sweeps a little dust onto the pristine floor.
Wow, that seems intentionally disruptive. What was the point?
He was showing that if one speck of dust, one misplaced item, can shatter your peace, then your peace was built on something fragile, something external, not on a real acceptance of how things are. True order isn't sterility, it's the lack of resistance to what is. Laziness, procrastination, that's actually a form of resistance, turning away from what needs doing. Acceptance is meeting what needs doing, whether it's folding or cleaning the garage, with full attention, regardless of whether the result lasts forever.
So we really need to look at the why, our motivation behind the organizing. Am I folding the laundry or am I folding with this hidden agenda?
Exactly, that's the trap. If you're folding, hoping it will somehow fix you, or if you're kind of bargaining, if I do this just right, then maybe that good thing will happen. That's not really mindfulness. It's more like, well, magic thinking disguised in chores, using the past purely as a means to some other end.
Okay, let's try to broaden this out. What about, say, my email inbox,
Right.
which feels inherently endless? If the goal can't be get to inbox 0, because maybe that's impossible or unsustainable, does this mean the practice is just being present with the email I'm reading right now, even if the number stays high?
The practice is completely portable, yes. If the goal is clear the inbox, your focus is on a future number, you'll likely feel rushed, maybe inadequate. But if the goal is simply be present with this email, then the act itself, reading, responding, deleting, archiving, becomes the focus. The order is internal first, and when that internal steadiness is there, you often find the external task gets met with more grace, more efficiency, less panic.
So the challenge becomes quite direct then. Can you fold this towel or answer this email without folding yourself into knots of worry or expectation or judgment?
We need to cultivate a sense of fluidity. Think of water in a bowl. It takes the shape of the container, but it remains water, flowing, not rigid. True order has that quality. Folding the clothes, dealing with the inbox. It's like shaping the banks of a river. Not to stop the river life's flux, its impermanence, but to help it flow with a little more grace.
That makes me think of that Japanese art form, kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold, highlighting the cracks. If we apply that idea to ourselves, it suggests our flaws, our broken bits aren't things to hide.
Precisely. Your inner world doesn't need to be flawless to be whole. The cracks, the wrinkles life gives us, the inevitable imperfections, they can be honored. They tell a story. When you accept the slightly messy pile of clothes or the fold that isn't quite perfect, you're practicing accepting your own beautiful incompleteness. So peace isn't found in eliminating the mess outside. It's found in the presence of acceptance inside. That's the practice, right there in the fold.
So if we manage to stop folding just to get it done, and instead approach it more like an act of devotion, just to the moment itself,
Yes.
what's the final insight? What do we touch then?
The deepest insight, perhaps, is that true order isn't something you construct through effort. It's something you uncover. It's already there, beneath the resistance. The moment you cease fighting what is the mess, the imperfection, the flow of time order reveals itself, not as a rigid structure, but as a flowing harmony. And you touch that sense of the eternal, not in some grand spiritual experience necessarily, but right here, in the warmth of the cotton, the rhythm of your hands.
So the ultimate paradox is, the more we let go of needing everything to be perfectly ordered and under control, the more a natural sense of harmony emerges.
Yes, and that brings us to maybe the final koinen, the one you can't answer with words, only live into. What if the inner world doesn't actually need to be ordered by us? Because in its essence, it already is. We spend so much energy trying to get ourselves together, solding ourselves neatly as if we were scattered pieces. But maybe we're already whole. Maybe what's truly scattered is just our attention.
Folding laundry then. It becomes this simple, repeatable ritual, a way to return, a quiet bow to the present moment.
That really is the invitation for you, the listener. The next time you stand before that basket of clean clothes, try not to ask that usual, slightly frantic question. Oof, how quickly can I get this over with?
Right, instead,
Yeah.
maybe ask something else.
Ask a quieter question, a deeper one that doesn't even need an answer, just stillness. Ask yourself, what else have I been missing? In the ordinary. The laundry might get folded, yes, but the real practice, that has just begun.